this class, you're welcome to use 2 blocks. I have them set up both on the same side of the mat, the farther side from the screen, and just, close to each of the short ends of the mat. So if you have blocks, that's great. They're not required at all. You're welcome to use your legs or a wall, a book, whatever you want to. If you want to use it when we get there, it's just kind of a nice thing that it could be useful if you have them. If not, no stress. And from there, let's work our way down all the way onto our backs. If you're comfortable to completely flatten your way down into this normal Shavasana shape, come into that direction and begin to let a few breaths flow through the body. Huge, wonderful inhales. Good, relaxing exhales. Our intention today has to do with taking any weird emotions that might be going on for you and gradually transforming them through the course of our class, especially toward the meditation that we have at the end today. We'll give it an opportunity to completely transform for us. This week for me, I've definitely been feeling some weird, stressful, anxiety-like emotions going on. For me, several days in a row back to back. And so this meditation, this time to just be with those emotions, is an opportunity to feel what those are supposed to help us with, feel what we're supposed to feel, and then from there we can start to transform them, transfigure them toward a different type of energy. Emotions, they say, are just energy in motion, and that's what emotion stands for. And so with that transformation to help lead us onward, think of what you've been feeling lately and start to bring that emotion right into the forefront of the mind. And we can tell ourselves, this is the emotion that I wish to transform today. It's never going to be the same again. I'm going to leave how I've been feeling in the past and transform it into something new, something fresh. So take that emotion right to the forefront. Take a good deep breath, one more all the way into the belly. Nice and slow, relaxed out. And then from here, let's take it like normal. Our first pose, just bringing the knees into the chest. Rocking around for a moment. Feel the low back, feel the hips. How does the emotion that we've brought up, how do they feel in these areas of the body? Sometimes emotions will make our muscles feel a certain way, and it's different for everybody. A lot of times for me, it's like a grossness on my shoulders, or kind of, yuckiness in the belly. There can be different types of feelings depending on what emotion it is. But just start to notice, where do I feel it, and does it affect this part of the body? From here, a couple of simple stretches to get us started. Drop this left foot to rest. Right leg gets us up to the sky, that beautiful stretch and extension upward. No need to force anything too quickly right here, but just working toward extension. Make sure that no matter what you're doing to feel it, you are feeling the whole backside of the leg. Do a few nice ankle rolls, going clockwise. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, reverse. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Swivel this right knee out to the right. The left foot comes in closer to the chest. We're taking the baby cradle position, either holding onto the foot in the knee or sliding the foot further up to the wrist, forearm, or elbow. And some days when we're laying on our back, it's totally fine, even beautiful, to just hug this leg in. Sometimes that gets you exactly what the areas that need it in the hip. And other days I want to just rock it out a little bit left and right. So play with either and find what's working today. And from here, gently drop this right ankle down onto left thigh, hug around the left side, getting slightly deeper. The opportunity, if you want to try it, to straighten the left leg up and walk hands up that left side. So we've got the hip opener still going on, like the figure 4 position, and this left leg also perhaps straightening upward as well. Another beautiful breath in. Nice exhale. Release. Switch it out. The right foot's rested. Left foot straightening up to the sky. After where it was a moment ago, if you stretched it up, this feels natural to return right back to this shape. So just enjoy that. Trying to find extra length through the backside if it's not quite in the stretch that you want it to be. Doing those nice circles with the toes, tracing as wide as we can. Go counterclockwise first. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, reverse. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Cradling this leg out. Swivel the knee out to the side. We're grabbing on, however deep it can go. And once again, you choose. Is it feeling best to just hold it and hug it? Is it feeling better to rock it a little bit left and right? You'll notice a lot of the poses that we're choosing throughout today are going to get us into the hips and into the legs. A lot of times in our gentle class, we don't always come up to standing for much time at all. And today we're going to spend more time there. And so this helps us to root down into the earth. The earth, think of a plant. The earth is able to help that transformation process, transforming from a seed to a sprout to a plant, and even providing the nourishments for fruit or vegetables. And so we're connecting down to these very base chakras and grounding as if we have roots, so that we can suck up that earth in toward our system energetically to help us also transform these emotions with it. Go ahead and drop this left ankle onto the right thigh, hug around the right side, pull it in, and notice even if you were just doing a hug on the baby cradle part, it's slightly different setting it up on the thigh like this. It's almost like we've transformed it. We've brought it to a new stage of development. Those of you that want to straighten up the right leg, you're welcome to do so at this time. Breath in, and then exhale, release the hands, drop the feet down, and we're going to take a couple of leg and hip activating poses. These are helping to work through some of the muscle groups that we don't always use, helping to build some of that pelvic floor strength. And so I'm tilting my knees over to the over to the left side because that faces me to the screen. If you're not on that side, either, reverse when I say left or right, or just flip your body around to face the other direction. So I've got my knees facing toward that left side. I'm supporting my head in that left hand, and my right hand is just gently resting on the ground in front of me. My knees are in this nice bench shape. From here, I imagine my legs are like a little clamshell. The two connection points of that clamshell are the ankles or the toes, whatever is connecting there, and then this hip joint. And so from there, the knees can slowly open up as wide as they possibly can, and then close, as if you're squeezing a clamshell against molasses, and you can feel that pressure as the molasses is slowly oozing out. And so from here, repeating that a few times, feel the knee open, feel that squeezing on the back side of the hips, and then feel the inner thighs trying to squeeze the legs together. Good. Repeating a few more cycles. Here's 6. Squeeze. 5. 4. Nice breath in. And with the squeeze, that nice exhale. 3. 2. And 1. Good. Squeezing it all the way down. The bottom leg stays in the same bent shape. The top leg floats off to a nice straight angle. It's staying about level with the hip. And so from here, we're going to point and flex that foot to start to peel the toes toward your torso, and then point your toes away from the torso. Finding as much flexion and extension as you can through that foot. Repeating 6. And 5. And 4. And 3. 2. 1. Good. Rest it down for just a moment. Our last one before we switch sides is that we're going to keep the knee facing toward this side, and the side of the thigh helps to lift the entire leg up to a nice angle, maybe a 45-degree angle, and then leg slowly lowers back down. So when you're ready for that, find that lift. 8 and down. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Good. Press your way up to seated. Before we switch the legs over to the other side of the mat, have the left leg, the one that was on the bottom, just plant here in front of us. Right ankle comes back up, and we gently push that knee open. Taking a moment just to help stretch some of those muscles that were just working so hard for us. 3 poses back to back. Okay, switching around, swivel the legs to the other side of the mat. We're laying down onto our right side body. The head is supported. Both knees are tucked in. And the first thing that we've got planned is that clamshell. The knees slowly travel up and then squeeze together. So as we're repeating this a few times, just notice within your own body how energy is already starting to shift. We don't feel exactly the same as when we started, even just 10 minutes ago. Here's 5. Squeeze. 4. 3. 2. And 1. Bottom leg stays, top leg straightens out, floating. And we flex the toes toward the torso and point the toes away. Feeling 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. We point, and then we drop the leg down for just a breath or 2. Again, the last one is to lift the leg, the side of the leg, lifting it up to a nice 45-degree angle, more or less, and then gently dropping it back down. This is muscular control the whole way. So when you're ready, lifting up 8 and down. 7. 6. 5. 4. 3. 2. 1. Good. Tucking the knees in. Press our way up. This time, right foot stays planted, left ankle comes up. And as long as we have the space for it, we're gently pushing that knee open. From here, let's slide the bottoms of both feet together, knees opening up to a nice cobbler pose. If you need to shift around, getting some of the flesh off of your sitting bones, that's okay. The knees are just opening however much they will. You can either keep hands behind you for a nice tall cobbler's pose today, or grab onto the ankles to pull your spine up tall, and then begin to tilt forward. Neither's right, neither's wrong. It's just the different expressions to get us in toward feeling our body. So checking in with the emotions now, have they shifted yet again? Have we noticed that maybe the way that we felt when we first came in isn't quite so dense? If you were to rank emotions from the densest, heaviest emotion you could possibly imagine, up toward, the flitty, lighthearted emotions clear up at the top, like bliss and love and enlightenment, those kinds of emotions. Have you climbed up the ladder at all just from starting to move our body? Notice how helpful that is. There's a couple of different things like massage, yoga, really good diet, things like that will start to help us transform some of that energy and just get it, the denseness out of our system. So from here, lift the spine back up. The right leg opens out to a nice angle, not forcing it super wide, maybe about 75% of your maximum. And then from here, turn the torso over that right leg and walk the hands downward, just getting a little bit deeper through that leg. We're stretching it out before we come up to some of our standing poses here shortly. Crisscross walk the hands through the center, and maybe they inch just slightly deeper into the stretch. And from here, as we walk back up, we switch out the legs. Turn over toward that left leg, walk all the way down. Start to crisscross, walk through the center. Maybe going just a little bit deeper. And then as we start to walk back up, let's swing both of our knees underneath us. We're coming to a nice cat-cow shape. We're kneeling down. The spine gets to round up to the sky. And inhale, belly down, gaze up. Take it nice and gentle, going through the range of motion that's accessible today. How slow can our breath be through this movement? Take it 2 more rounds. Beautiful. After that second one, we're going to turn ourselves up into a downward facing dog shape. Tuck the toes, start to lift the hips up high. Pedaling the legs out as if that's feeling good for the body. Finding gentle movements, gentle lengthening. Begin to float the left leg all the way up toward the sky. Step the left foot to the outside of left hand. And we're going to come onto the outside edge of the right foot. This turns us off to the side a little bit. We're bringing the left hand up to that thigh. If this is uncomfortable for your wrist, you can drop down to elbow instead. Go ahead and clear down low. What we're trying to do is give our leg an opportunity to rotate that hip open. If you need to drop the back knee down, that is an option as well. It just changes the pose slightly, so play with what feels best. See if the spine can rotate just a little bit more, maybe gazing up to the sky if that feels natural. Good, returning left hand down. Start to slide this left foot back and take a moment to pedal out through our down dog. Second side, right leg takes a moment to float. Then step that foot to the outside of the hand. Rotate onto the outside edge of the back foot. Right hand coming up to the knee. Hoping to push that knee open. Again, any adjustments you need to make that you did before, do them again. If you're dropping down to left elbow, that's fine. If you're coming down to knee, that's fine. Maybe continuing to just rotate open. See if you can have less of a dropping of the hip, more of that lift almost upward. Trying to feel that part of the stretch. Take another good breath into the body. Good exhale, planting this hand back down, slide the foot back, up to downward facing dog again. A couple of little pedals. Slightly bending the knees like a spring. You can step, walk, or jump all the way up to the top. If you have the blocks and you'd like this for the forward fold, that's beautiful. Occasionally there's people that can step on their hands. So if you do that, that would just help to push the wrists down into the opposite direction of what they were just doing for us. So you're welcome to take that if it's accessible to you. We're trying to lengthen the backside of the legs just a little bit deeper than they naturally want to go. No blocking though. And then we're pushing our weight more onto the balls of the foot rather than just onto the heels. Rocking our weight forward. Feel a nice pause, just a couple of good deep breaths. If you stepped on your hands, start to free them out. We'll bend our knees, bring the hands up to the thighs. Just gently round the spine up, giving the head lots of time to come up, helping us not feel lightheaded. From here, bring the hands to the low back, push the hips forward. Give the spine a chance to arch up and back for a moment. Just kind of stretching that spine. Maybe the first time you've done a little back bend today. One more breath in. And exhale, spine gently comes back up. We drop the left hand to the left thigh. Right hand circles left and circles up and over. So we get to stretch the side body. And rise back up. Right hand down, left hand up and over. Good. Opening ourselves to the long edge of the mat. We're going to start off with our feet about 3.5 feet apart. Obviously, if it's too deep, just go a little bit narrower. And we're starting off with the toes directly forward. From here, we're going to bring hands to the hips and lean halfway forward, trying to straighten and flatten through the low back, stick the sitting bones back. And we're just going deep enough that we feel the tug of the muscles on the back side of the leg. Pause here just a few more breaths. Bend the knees, help the spine roll all the way back up. From here, your right toes rotate forward. Keep the left toes tucked in just slightly. Hips are still trying to square themselves off to this side. And let's open up the arms nice and wide to left and to right. So that opening of shoulders, opening of back. And from here, heading toward triangle pose, we start to reach the fingertips as far over to that right side as we can. And then simply rotate the hand down. If you had the block, set up right behind it. Just place your hand directly onto the block and feel the shoulders lift up. If you don't have the block, use your shin. That's perfectly fine. Try to feel the hips continuing to open to the side. Feel this left shoulder peeling back just enough that it can stack tall. Imagine you had a wall directly behind you. You can place your whole spine directly onto it. This left hand is going to start dropping down. We're facing toward that straight front right leg. The right hand is still absolutely fine to stay up on that block if you have it. That can help us balance just a little bit. It's a slightly wider pyramid pose than we might normally take, so just enjoy it. And then from here, we're going to start walking the fingertips through the center. Slide those right toes to point forward. When our hands are all the way at the center, push your hips backwards to counterbalance your fingers walking forward, pulling the spine long, almost like what down dog feels like. A straight line from fingertips all the way up to the hips. notice that your knees are taking a bend naturally, can you straighten them just a little bit more? Always know the rule is not locking though, so never lock it all the way straight. That hyperextension is helpful for the joint. Now we're going to gradually walk the hands back in, bend the knees, bring the hands up to the hips to roll up. Turn the left toes off to the left, keep the right toes inward just a little bit. 2 straight legs, feel the shoulders open. It's almost like bringing the arms up helps our inhale to just flow into our body because the weight of the arms are no longer pushing against the rib cage. So take another inhale, just feel the float. And exhale, start to lean over toward that left side. Eventually dropping that hand maybe to the block, maybe directly onto the shin. Right hand begins to float directly stacked on top of the other. Shoulders peel back. And feel the elongation of the spine. We're not just kind of rounding our way to be in a shape. Rather, we're finding length. Seeing multiple triangles going on here. The triangle of the inner part of the legs. The triangle of this left side of our body. So see if you can lengthen the spine to really create triangles rather than kind of domed shapes. Another beautiful inhale. And exhale, start to drop the shoulder down. We're facing our way immediately toward that left side, enjoying that stretch over that straight front leg. Sometimes I notice, depending on how my calves are doing, because the stance is wider, I might be experiencing a bit of an Achilles tendon and calf stretch on the right side when I'm facing toward the straight left leg. So if you are enjoying it, that's okay, that's a bonus. Okay, we start to walk the hands forward, rotating both feet to face this long edge of the mat. This time, hands only walk to the point where they're planted on the ground in front of the shoulders, or use the blocks if you need a little bit more height. So again, feel the straightening of the spine, and feel how the more you focus on that elongation, the deeper the muscles on the backside of the legs are pulled, those beautiful hamstrings. From here, left leg takes a moment trying to twist upward. It's not going to be able to twist all the way, so just find however high you can lift it up without hips shifting at all. And then thread this left arm under and through. We're trying to grab the outside edge of the right calf. As soon as you've got that set up, see if you can bend that left elbow to help pull the torso closer to the right leg. Good. Unwinding, plant both hands in front of you. A nice long spine again. Second side, right hand begins to float. Just see how open the shoulder can become. And then thread it under and through, grabbing right hand toward the outside of that left calf. When you've got the grip set up, gently bend the right elbow, bringing us toward the left leg. Good, unwinding that, both hands planted in front of us again, spine getting pulled long, legs working longer and straighter. bending the knees, bring the hands up to the hips, and then roll the spine all the way back up to stand. Good, heading toward a warrior two shape. Rotate the right toes back up toward that right side of the mat. Keep the hips open and then bend this right knee. If you shortened your stance at all, some of us may be bringing our knee past the toes. If that's the case, just widen it back out so that when you're traveling to a good depth, you're not letting knee go past toes. That just weakens the knee over time. Start to feel the arms opening, gazing left and right. See if either of your hands are trying to, wing their way forward or pull their way backward. Instead, try to get them in exactly a straight line, the straightest that you can make without having a mirror. Feel your right knee rotating open, maybe your hips sinking just slightly deeper. From here, the left hand sweeps down. As it goes down, we shorten the stance a little bit, facing toward the right edge of our mat. Circling up to the sky, we're in a high warrior one shape. As we clasp our hands together and release the pointer fingers to point up to the sky, we gaze upward, almost like we're trying to look all the way up to the moon. Another beautiful inhale and exhale. Hands start to just drop down by our sides. We're going to try for a moment to go through warrior three pose. So shift your weight onto that front right leg. Push that leg into the ground, feeling its connection to earth. And then we're either at this nice high balancing angle or we're trying to tilt slightly closer to a 90-degree angle. Just find what works for your body. We've got 2 more breaths. After that second breath, plant both feet up toward the top of the mat together. We're finding ourselves in this strong mountain pose. The feet absolutely rooting down into the earth. Feel the spine getting pulled taller. Palms just relaxed down by our sides. Shoulders opening just slightly backwards, even ears pulled just slightly backward. Feel that light engagement of the core. Feel this openness and this strength. Feel as if, we started at the beginning of class down by the floor. Now we're this plant that's getting taller and stronger, more open. So just feel how the energy shifted for you at this point. Where do you feel on your ladder? Turning this into tree pose, we're standing on left foot. The right knee rotates open. Maybe it climbs up to ankle, to calf, or to thigh, never directly on the knee. Hands are welcome to join in front of the heart. The knee continues to rotate open. If the balance is super easy, you can also reach your branches up high. Not required if you don't want to. So the rootedness opposing the length of the body. The more we push the foot down, the more we can lengthen the spine up. That's how nature works and that's how physics works. You have to have something to push against, and that's where the growth starts to happen. It's as if these emotions, that's what we're pushing against right now. Take another good breath in. And exhale, start to turn the knee forward. Plant that right foot, immediately creating roots. Second side, rotate left open. Feel the knee opening. Maybe the foot goes higher up the leg. Maybe hands just come to the heart or to the hips. Maybe you grow branches. Now that principle of pushing against something, think of the case of a canoe. If you're sitting in a canoe trying to paddle against air, you have nothing to push against. Sure, maybe pushing against air would get you slightly forward, but it's not the same as pushing against the dense water, really getting your paddle all the way into the water and pushing. And in that way, you're able to propel yourself forward. And so imagine that's what the density is. Maybe it's not all bad. Maybe that density is exactly what we need to push our way forward to the person or the place where we want to be. Take one more breath on the tree pose on this side. And then begin to turn this knee forward, plant this foot down. And we're opening our legs back up to that nice wide shape that we started with. Sometimes it's nice to jump up and just land wide, because when you do that, that usually puts us in exactly the shape and the distance of the legs that's perfect for our body. So we're going on to the second side. Start to turn the left toes leftward. Bend that knee and see if the stance is wide enough. If not, just inch the toes slightly forward so we can have good strengthening of the legs, the hips sinking down. Feel the arms spreading open. Feel your back tall as if you're against that wall again. Very tall, very strong. Maybe glance at your hands. Are they going forward? Are they going backward? Is one higher than the other? See what you can do to bring them into perfect balance within our body. Good. We're going to be transitioning toward warrior one. So this right hand sweeps down as if at the low spot. Slightly shorten the stance so that the toes can point more forward. Circle both arms all the way up to the sky, clasping hands, release the pointer finger up. We're squeezing the arms close to the ears, shoulders relaxing down though, and then perhaps gazing up to the sky as long as that's not uncomfortable for the neck. Make sure as you did that, you didn't take the bend away from the knee. We're still finding that strength through the legs. So those two contrasting movements again, the upward pull of the body and the sinking and grounding to the earth at the same time. Another beautiful breath in. And exhale, the hands start to drop down by our sides. We're trying to transition to warrior three, so our weight comes into the left foot. Again, a nice high angle, balancing on that foot is fine. Maybe we're going deeper through the warrior three. Another good breath in. And slow exhale, we start to rise up to plant. Feel your mountain pose at this point. The strong steadiness, feet hip distance. Feel the posture lifting. Feel the core and how when you're actually in good posture, it does require just a little bit of core contraction to help keep the spine tall. We're not thrusting chest forward. We're not finding that arch to the low back. Instead, the core is tight so that we've got like a cinched belt all the way around us. So feel that length. Feel as if our spine is growing taller, climbing up that emotional ladder. Good. From here, we're going to take another tree pose to each side. This time I'll offer a balance challenge. You don't have to take it if you don't want to. So right knee starts to rotate open. Find that foot in the best tree pose place. If we're steady in our balance here, start to open the arms left and right. From here, just 2 times to each side, we start to turn the torso toward the bent knee. And back forward, away from the bent knee, but don't take the knee with you. The knee is still staying open. And return forward. Once more each side, right and left. Point this knee forward, drop the foot all the way down. Second side goes into tree pose. Again, if you're taking the challenge, the arms open. And we can start to turn right and left. Once more to each side. Right and left. Beautiful. Dropping this foot all the way down. Once more, let's jump open to that wide shape. Right toes turn forward toward the top of the mat, bending the knee. Open back up, warrior two. From the warrior two legs, we're reaching the right fingertips forward, dropping the right hand directly onto the block, if you have it. And then left arm reaches up, or if you're extending forward in that straight line from ankle up to wrist, then that can create a really good side body stretch. Again, feel shoulders peeling back rather than just kind of collapsing forward. Another good breath in. And exhale, start to rise the torso up, turn the right toes forward, left toes open, bend the left knee. Reach the fingertips leftward and then drop the hand down to block. You can even just have the elbow down too, that's an option. The right hand starts directly up. Maybe that's where our shoulder can go to today. Or perhaps we continue to extend it forward. Another beautiful inhale. And exhale, gently begin to rise. Turn both toes toward the long edge of the mat. Clasp your hands behind the back. And from that clasp, our hands pull backwards past our glutes if possible. And our heart begins to rise up to arch. Feel the shoulder blades squeezing together, peeling the pectoralis muscles open into a wide stretch. Another good inhale. Exhale, find a strengthening and lengthening of the core and the spine. And then we begin to bend forward with the hands clasped. From this point, hands perhaps begin to lengthen away from our back. If you need to bend the knees just a little bit for balance, that's okay. Lengthening helps the hamstring stretch better though. The clasp of the hands come to the floor underneath our body, just letting our spine continue to drop down. Or our fingertips turn and they walk underneath our body, trying to help the torso get closer to the thighs. Good. Hands come back right underneath our shoulders. The hands walk another foot or so to the right, and we bend the right knee enough that we can start feeling the inner thigh stretch on the left leg. Some people will be a lot higher to help protect the knee. Some people can come to squat and practically sit on that right heel so that you can go even deeper for that left leg stretch. So your choice how deep you take it. Walk both hands through the center, over toward the other side, going as low as you did on the other side. Okay, we're going to lower ourselves down toward our knees, and we're taking a frog pose before we wrap up. So if you have the blocks, scoot them a bit wider so they're not in the way. We're starting to spread our knees as wide as they can go onto the ground. The calves shoot straight back from the knees, so 90-degree angles in the knee joint, 90-degree angles in the hip joint. We're not collapsing forward. We're not sitting quite far back like a child pose. It's right in the middle. And perhaps we can drop down to elbows. This is a very vulnerable pose, one that can be extremely intense. So imagine bringing that emotion right up into this vulnerability. Oftentimes we put ourselves in situations or we keep ourselves busy enough that we never have to think about the things that are really annoying to us, really sucking our energy away. And so be with that emotion so that in just a moment when we head toward our Shavasana pose, we can use our meditation to help us transform the emotion. Take 5 more deep breaths all the way into the belly to be right here in the intensity. As you start to finish that 5th breath, walk your elbows forward so that your hips can lower onto the ground. The legs do a couple of little windshield wipers left and right. When that feels good and loose in the body, bring ourselves up. One last pose, sitting up, both legs straight out in front of us. We'll take an inhale to float our arms all the way up to the sky. Exhale, just release and stretch over the legs. One last chance to be with a lot of these muscle groups that we've been working on today. Starting to rise back up, bring the arms floating in front of us. We're starting to roll onto our backs nice and slowly. Dropping our hands by our sides, completely open the spine to the earth. Obviously knowing you can take any other variations of Shavasana if that's what's feeling best today. Feel a deep breath flow all the way down into the belly. And feel the exhale go slow. As that cycle of breath continues, extra slow and deep, begin to feel in your heart space the emotion that we just brought up in the frog pose, that intense vulnerability. Maybe it's the anger. Be with that emotion for a moment. Now there's a story of the Dalai Lama being with 2 students, and the students specifically asked the Dalai Lama, what do I do with the emotion of anger? I know that that's not a good emotion to be with. It can hurt people, it can hurt myself. So what do I do with this emotion of anger that I feel? And the Dalai Lama said, begin to find the transformative fire within to help transition anger toward other ideas like compassion. So imagine that intense emotion in your heart space that we're breathing into, and imagine that there's beginning to be purple flames coming right up underneath that heart. Now we know from science that chemical reactions cannot change back to the way that they were before. And fire creates chemical reactions. That's one way to make it happen. It changes things such that you cannot bring it back to how it was before. So imagine this purple flame, this fire underneath this emotion is starting to let the emotion transform. It's not ignoring it. It's not pushing it down and pretending like it isn't there. Instead, you start to see little bubbles form in the emotion. And taking a deep breath, you're putting more air into the chemical formula. And so notice, maybe if you've ever made caramel, there's a moment when the bubbles start to come, and that's when the sugar's transformed into the caramel. So imagine something's happening, the bubbles, the color, the transformations beginning to happen. So all those emotions of anger, stress, anxiety, depression, hopelessness, they're starting to transform here right at this moment. Never to go back again. And so if it's a caramel, dip your finger into the caramel once it's cooled down enough and taste it. Taste what compassion feels like. Taste love and hope and faith. Taste gratitude. And know that that power that you have within to create the transformation has always been there and always will be here. We're not ignoring the emotion. We're not pushing it down to try to deal with it at a future time. We're being right with it and just encouraging it to transform until compassion starts to arise. This feeling of service to others that actually ends up serving ourselves as well. So just sipping on this beautiful transformation and what has arisen for us. Let's take 3 more beautiful breaths to be right here, right now. After that third beautiful, delicious breath, you start to bring little movements back to fingers, back to toes, ankles and wrists. Starting to stretch out like we're waking up first thing in the morning. Eventually rolling over to a beautiful fetal position off to one side. And pause here to breathe. Maybe another breath or two until your body feels like it's ready to come up toward that comfortable seated place. When you're ready, rise up to that comfortable seated place. Join the hands together in front of the heart. And feel the emotions that are in your body now. Feel the lightness. Feel the hope. Feel yourself roll the shoulders up, back, and down, knowing that you don't have to carry the heavy emotions the rest of the day. You can be in the caramel bliss, compassionate state. If there's any other areas of your body that need a quick movement to help release the sticky heaviness, maybe take that extra moment. Maybe roll slowly through the neck, once to each side. Rising back up, feeling completely free. So from that freedom and that transformation, let's wrap up this time we got to share together with the sound of Om. Inhaling together now. Om. May we be filled with light and happiness and peace. Namaste.